everyone, my name is J-Rod Plays YT. Welcome to the guide. This will be my second voiceover guide. Normally I usually just use text on screen to explain the encounters, but I have a similar video out for the normal mode Nezarec, which is in this case going to be the Master Mode Nezarec guide today. And there's not a whole lot of differences other than a couple of barrier champions as far as the minor changes, but since the patch has come out, that's going to change his behavior, and I wanted to kind of go over and provide additional insight into how to deal with kind of LFG environments, or say you only have a couple of friends that you play with and you have to fill the other three. Me, myself personally, I usually have to solo, so I'm out there with 5 people that I don't know. And with LFGs, of course, you never know what you're going to get. You can get 5 of the great players and just roll the encounter, or you can get a couple of players who are new to the entire raid, trying to do Master for the first time, people that don't have the guns, people that are not as prepared. And so I just kind of wanted to go over and give my insights on how I did it and how I got Master Mode completed using an LFG, and just kind of share my initial thoughts on the difference between Day 1 and Master, how it felt, and really to focus on the newer player or the person who, like I said, is not normally running with the same group over and over again. I know you're going to always have that crowd, and I addressed it in my other video, of people who are always going to get good, or if you can't do this, it's obviously a skill issue. It has nothing to do with anything specifically tied to the game or anything like that. And those people, obviously, you can't reach them. You think they're being original, they think they're funny. They're not going to be somebody who's going to encounter you normally because they have their own groups. They may be the one getting carried and they think they're good, but in the end, this is not for that group of people who are already comfortable with the encounter, who already know what's up, who hate the raid because they say it's quote-unquote too easy. Again, I personally like it to have a more mechanic-based raid than one that's less tied to boss health. Usually Bungie has made boss health kind of the biggest roadblock. For example, that was the biggest roadblock in the Day 1 King's Fall, was having so much health on War Priests. People didn't have the specific weapons, they couldn't get past the boss, and so they couldn't experience the rest of the raid until the Day 1 race was over and everything reset just to actually get into the raid. With Root of Nightmares, that wasn't the case. More people were able to get further in the raid because it was just, again, mechanic based. Once you understood the mechanics, once you were able to execute, you were able to get further into the raid. More people were able to get completions. There was actually a full 48 hours compared to Val's 48 hours. Val's 48 hours, again, was only there because there was a ton of glitches, a ton of error codes. Impede your progress. You would get almost done with the encounter, you'd have to wipe, or you would just send to orbit because of somebody erroring out. So this was the first real full 48-hour raid, and it showed in people being able to complete it, but that also is a good thing that people can actually experience the content. So with that out of the way, I'm going to start going into some of the different areas of the fight. How to control Nezarec, good places to stay safe. His scythes do a ton of damage like they did on Day 1. He's not easy to control after the patch, where you can just stand still and you're well. And I'll show the differences between what it looked like before and what it's going to look like after the patch. And hopefully this will help many of you out there, whoever watches the video, get with your team or get with your LFGs to have a specific strategy so that you can knock out Master. Again, Master Mode is really designed for you to go in there and do it really one time and then get your challenge done for the week, whether it be on one character or all 3 characters if you care about the weapon, and then the other characters you just run through normal. That's just, for whatever reason, Bungie decided that that's going to be the format that we have this time around, where you have a specific lock weapon and then you have to go through and get nothing but armor when you're running Master. So I don't know who makes the decision in that particular case on let's just drop no weapons, let's just drop armor and let's lock the specific weapon in, where instead of you just getting a random weapon which could have had a red border on that encounter. Not a good idea, but it is what it is, and people want to get in there, want to get the ship, want to get their triumph done. I believe Guardian Ranks is probably going to have completing the Master Raid as one of the end requirements for the last steps that's still secret. So good luck on that, and without further ado, let's get into the video. Now, very quickly, I'm going to review the mechanics of the raid, just in case this is the first time you've watched this video or another video, and this is your first Nezarec video in general, or you're looking to see more in depth on what the Master mechanics look like. Again, they're very similar to the normal encounter, so if you've watched other Nezarec videos, or if you've watched my other video on how to control Nezarec, you can kind of see how the mechanics work, how the damage phases work. but essentially it's very similar to all of the other encounters that you're going to be activating nodes, light and dark. In this case, they're parallel, one on each side. Normally the ideal setup is to have one runner on each side, or two runners on each side if people like to do a relay. It's not necessary. Usually you're quick enough to get each side done before Nezarec does his wipe mechanic that would require you to start over. And you can get both sides done, get your damage in. Sometimes one phase them, sometimes two phase them with a good group. And of course, if you're talking LFGs, it's normally going to be a three phase, especially because there's always, again, a few people in the LFD who just don't have the weapon, who just don't have the right setup, who don't know the builds, and they're just trying to get the encounter done for the first time. They don't do this for a living, for example. So in this case, you're going to have the light node and the dark node, and they look very similar to how they did Incision. The glowing node, the one that has an aura around it, is obviously going to be your starting point on each side, and that will move progressively. Each time you knock out a few nodes, the node on each side will move closer and closer to the final flower that you'll be activating on each side. Once you hit the first node, you're going to be getting either the light buff or the dark buff. Those light buffs and dark buffs have timers and will expire, so you'll have to revisit the node each time, going back and forth. Every time you activate the node, you'll change from a small seed, which you'll see here, and that'll change into a larger seed, pointing you to where the next node is with a small little indicator. Those nodes are not set. They will change depending on the run. They have a slightly different path each time. The first node is going to be in the same place, so at least you know when you go from the first node to the second node exactly where it's going to be. And then what I do, and what most people will do, is they'll kind of jump up a little higher and kind of take a look over the battlefield, kind of seeing if it's on the left or the right side of the next node, and then you'll know where the node from there will be, because it'll be where it wasn't before. So as you trace the path, you're going to get to a flower on each end, which will have the final node. Once you've done that, you're going to see a large glow coming from the nodes, which you'll see here, and you'll also get like an audio indicator, and it kind of travels reverse all the way back through the nodes, making the noise that you know you got it done, both on the light and the dark side. If you're the runner, of course you want to let your team know, hey, I'm done with the light side, hey, I'm done with the dark side. That way everybody can get to a specific plate. And we'll go over the plates here in a second when we talk more about damage. But that's pretty much the main mechanic as far as getting to the damage phase. Now, additionally, in the Nezarec Master encounter, what didn't happen before is now you actually have champions to deal with, which, surprise, surprise, right, that's Bungie's idea of difficulty, is adding champions or changing out other characters, other majors or bosses for champions. And so the damage clearing is going to be very similar. You're going to have two groups of ads, one on each side, and you're going to have one group of ad in the middle. Fortunately, and not necessarily that it makes too huge of a difference, but the middle group doesn't have a barrier, so you really only have a barrier on the left and on the right. That middle Colossus is just a named Colossus that you can take out. It's just like a boss Colossus. So anybody that maybe doesn't have specifically anti-barrier or has struggles with getting barriers, or just in general has a hard time with that, you can put him in the middle with the person getting the gaze and taking the hate. And from there, they can be that kind of, even though they're the weak point on the team, they can still be kind of useful in protecting the gaze person, because you can and you will get killed. And you'll see in some footage here where I'm in a situation and I'm the one taking the gaze, and there's nobody in the middle anymore because they died or they wandered off to one of the sides, and the ads will come pick at you. And your job, of course, as the gaze person, is to make sure that Nezarec isn't bouncing around your runners, and you know, you have to focus on that first and then your life second. So going into that mechanic, speaking of that, periodically Nezarec will put hatred on the group, and it'll be on everybody, so it'll start bouncing everybody around. You'll start getting a kind of a void, like a blue void aura around your screen, and then you'll start getting bounced up off the floor like a scion attack, for example, but it's for everybody. And that's going to really hurt the runners, because they're going to have a hard time hitting their node from inside the node to activate it, and it's going to impede their progress, and then from there give you less time when it comes to trying to get them done on each side, and could cause a wipe. So the key is to have somebody with a high impact sniper, or Izanagi's Burden, whatever your preference is. I was using a high impact sniper, and you're going to knock out his crit spots starting on his shoulders, one on each side as seen here. And once you knock out the two shoulders, they may come back because it may not fully knock out the shoulders. I was standing in an empowering rift, so that made it a little easier to get a one-shot on the shoulders and knock them out. But once you do that, you're going to see Nezarec glow a specific color. It's either going to be white for light or like an orange-yellow for dark, and you'll see bands across his body glow. That's very important to call out if you're the gaze person, especially after the first damage phase, because you're going to need to know based on that color where to create a refuge on the nodes on each side. Now, the light refuge is going to need to be created by a dark person coming over to a light seed that's been completed and shooting it so that you get the light buff. So when he's white, the dark person, the dark runner, has to come over to the light side. And the dark refuge is the same way. When he glows dark, kind of that burnt orange, yellow color, you're going to have a light runner come over to the right side, shoot a completed seed, and then that's going to create you a refuge from there. And the mechanic works very similar to when you're in the jumping puzzle where there's a heartbeat, and that'll come wipe you if you're not standing in the darkness refuge, for example. But you also have to look out for a light as well. And so you'll see when he glows light, for example, I'll call out, hey, we need a light refuge. The dark person will come over. What we decided to try to do, it's not always perfect, but we tried to put the buff in the front on the left and the right side. The reason why that's important is because everybody knows where those nodes are, so there's no confusion, like which middle plate. And usually, by the time you're 3 or 4 nodes in, which is timing-wise where you would need to create the dark or the light refuge, those are always going to be not the active node. The active node will have that glowing aura around it. If you try to shoot that particular node, then that node is going to be inactive for the refuge, and you're going to wipe. So we always did the front 2 nodes just because, well, not always, we tried to always, I mean, again, LFG, sometimes it would be in the middle, and you'll see, I think on our kill, we had to create one kind of middle right platform, but you'll create the refuge. When he starts glowing, he'll start glowing white. Then you know, okay, he's about to wipe us. Go touch the refuge and then get back out again. You don't have to stand in it. It's as long as the buff doesn't expire before the wave touches you, you'll be perfectly safe. So what we did is when he began glowing, we would run in there and touch it and get back out and start going back to our tasks that we were assigned to originally, especially the runners, because then you can go move on to the next steps. And you can stack the buff. You don't got to worry about, like, if I'm the dark runner and I go get the light buff, do I have to wait until the buff goes away? You can go right into doing your nodes again, especially right after he's done his blast. So that's the light and the dark refuge mechanic. That's going to allow you to get a second or a third DPS phase in. You have to do that in order to get through the kind of middle portion of his attacks, and that's going to let you and your team regroup in between as well, because you'll go right back up on top of the platform. You can grab ammo, you can get situated, you can get ready for your ads to spawn, and then of course the person controlling the hatred will get back into their position and they'll control the hatred again. Again, controlling the hatred, just to make sure I touched on it appropriately, when you shoot the 2 shoulders and you have the 2 shoulders down, you've seen his glow, he's going to start doing kind of a sweeping motion, starting with his left hand, kind of sweeping to his left hand sweeping to his left side. So it's going to go from, if you're looking at him, from the left to the right. And as he sweeps, you'll see his chest begin to glow. Once you see that glow begin, immediately you can shoot him in the chest. You don't have to wait until it's fully glowing. As long as that glow is beginning, you can knock it out, and the sooner the better, because if you can avoid it at all, your runners will never get bounced up if you pop them in immediately. If not, they'll maybe get 1 bounce, which is not too big of a deal. But you want to try to minimize the amount of time that he is being able to bounce everybody. And once you do that, the next thing that I do is I run up and I get underneath him and I pop a well as my warlock. I'm usually running well warlock and difficult content, so I'll be right underneath him. He's going to jump down, and what he used to do was he would come down, smash. You could stop the smash's momentum by hitting him with an unpowered melee attack as he hits you, and then you would stand still and he would stand still. And you can see here in this footage, this is Nezarec just standing still looking at me while I'm able to kill ads, I'm able to throw my grenades, I'm able to do everything as long as I don't move without him getting kind of agitated and starting to smash again. However, after the patch, he's going to be now roaming around regardless of whether you're in the middle or not, And as a well warlock, you're still at the best of control because he'll come down, he'll do his smash, which by the way can one-shot you in master mode, so be careful. I think I got killed here in this particular footage because I had my back to my sword, and my sword from my well stopped my motion, which caused me to have the collision death, which of course Bungie quote-unquote fixed, right? So just be careful, that can happen. You can die in a one-shot, but essentially you want to try to get to the sides of your well so that doesn't happen. You want to melee him as soon as he comes down and smashes at you, and then he's going to continually bounce you out of your well. So he's going to be slamming the ground with the bottom of his glaive. That's going to create a concussion blast. It's going to pop you out of your well, and it will suppress you. So you can't just like Icarus dash back in at times. You have to run and slide back in, and you want to try to make sure you're back in there before you get hit with a follow-up scythe attack or anything that's going to kill you, like if you happen to get bounced next to a barrier or next to the Colossus that's in the middle. You can also even try to, if you can do so without stepping on the plate, you can drop the well on one of these side platforms, which will make it a little harder on Nezarec to bounce you too far. The only downside is that if you're standing on the plate for the runner, when the runner activates it, that can mess up the chain a little bit, the light chain. So I always just put it in the middle. You can put your back against one of the platforms if you need to, so that he can't bounce you too far away. I always just let him bounce me so that he would just stay focused on me. You can even see some footage here from the side when another one of our players happened to be in there with me for safety, and he was getting his attention, and I was able to kind of step out and watch from the side to see what it looks like when you're being bounced out and jumping back in. But that's pretty much going to be what Nezarec's behavior is going to look like now that he's fixed. And it's not that imposing. I was actually doing that on day one because I didn't really know how to bug him. I knew that he would bug whenever you would be in a well. I didn't know it was tied to standing still. So I was still kind of moving around and killing things, and he would still bounce me out. So it's nothing new to me. It may be new to some players who only know him being cheesed essentially by standing still. But as long as you're getting back into the well, you're very likely not going to die. What is going to kill you, however, is his scythe attacks. Once your well runs out, or if you don't have a well and you're the person trying to hold his gaze, then his scythe attacks are extremely deadly. I was still running double void resistance and dying in one shot when you get hit by all three of the scythe blasts. Normally a scythe blast would take me down to roughly, I want to say about a third of my health. And so from a third of my health, I would then have to run and hide. There was two very good hiding spots when doing Nezarec. One was on the right side, far right platform toward the front. There's like a little bit of foliage, and there's a pillar that you can hide behind that does a pretty good job of catching him and catching his scythes. Even if he comes over there and tries to slam you, which he did to me a few times, it would still keep me alive. I would take either very little damage or no damage. And then on the far left, the platform that most people stand on to DPS him, the one that's got a little bit of a height to it and an angle, that platform also has some platforms and foliage that you can stand in. He can wrap around with his attack on that, and it will kill you. And from there, you can still kind of crouch and tuck in underneath some of the foliage, and he can also run up on you and slam you, and you should be able to survive it. Those are the two most useful platforms that I use to try to stay alive. I would also sometimes like run a route along the right side behind the right runner to keep him from hitting anybody if I could, and then I would also run a route over and above the left platform, the DPS platform that everybody uses, and then behind the foliage on the next platform to hide, kind of in the corner tucked in there. I have also seen, I haven't done it myself, but I've seen people using the final flower and standing behind or underneath the final flower. The only risk there is, of course, if he knocks you back, you have to be able to get back on with some type of momentum ability, whether it be Strand or it be Icarus Dash, because he can knock you off from there, but that's also a fairly safe location from what I've seen. Another downside, of course, is that if your runner is trying to finish the chain and you bring him over there and he kills your runner, well then that's kind of on you too. So I preferred the two routes where I was running along the side on the right side, hiding there, and I was running along the left side, hiding on the left side. Those to me were the two safe routes, and those were the better spots as far as survivability goes. Now from here, I want to talk about the behavior that he has in between phases, where once you've done damage to him and you've kind of got him to the point where either he's getting ready to be final stand and you just couldn't quite get him there, or you got him halfway, he's going to reset. He's going to go back up on his platform. The same will also happen after a refuge, whether you take a light or dark refuge, and you have to go back to shooting him in his crit spots to see whether he's light or dark, or shooting him in the chest to make sure that he doesn't put his gaze onto your teammates that are doing the running. So the most important thing in this middle phase is, and you'll see here, to not stand somewhere in the open because he'll hit you with his scythe attack. His 3 scythe tracking projectiles will one-shot players. I think I have some footage here that I can put up showing that somebody was just falling asleep and he easily one-shot them. If they don't one-shot you, they're going to put you very low health, like 1% to 10% health, and he'll quickly follow up with another attack. So here you'll see we finally got everybody to be on the same page where we're all standing and we're line of sighting him using a pillar of some sort or standing far enough back that he won't do his attack. Because even if you're out in the open in the very front, he very likely won't attack you. He just has some kind of a range where he won't attack you in. But as you can see, he was just staring at us. So I was able to get ready for his crit spots, and I was able to prepare for him to begin growing the crit spots and then starting to do the hatred. Now, where I was standing in one of these, and I'll put up a little bit of footage showing that, sometimes it's rough because he'll begin to look to his right, which will be your left, and he'll put his arm in front of his crit spot, and there's kind of like a little bit of a overhang of his arm which will block your shots. Your shot just won't hit, so you have to then go over farther to the left to actually hit his crit spots. So just keep that in mind when you're in the middle phases, that the arm will block your shots, and you might just want to stand on the left side, period. The reason why I was standing on the right side in this particular footage was because my team on the right side was pretty strong at clearing those early ads, so I didn't have as much harassment as I would have on the left side or the middle. And so this is just kind of a safer spot for me for that particular group to try to get the crits done, and then I would just shift over to the left. Now, when it comes to the damaging plates, one of the things that we did was we tried different plates over time, and the plate that had the most promise for us, finally, we settled on, was the plate that's kind of middle right. It's got a single pillar, but it's got a lot of space on it, and you could drop your well to either the left or the right side of it. And you'll see us here kind of standing, and you'll see what he kind of does where he'll duck behind the pillar either on one side or the other, and it's pretty easy to shift your group left or right. What I ended up doing was telling people ahead of time what side of it to stand on based on where he was when he was getting ready to get hit with the light and the dark beam and damage phase was beginning. He will usually stay on that side. Now sometimes he'll teleport back and forth, so be it, but he will usually stay either on the far right or the far left side of that pillar. But you can see other examples of how we were able to do our damage on these other pillars. We initially started on the middle pillar, left side pillar, I believe. Did okay there, but he kept getting behind some of the foliage, and that was costing us some damage. We tried the back pillar, which is the one that's like the flower pillars, and it wasn't so good because he was knocking us off and killing us. I don't really have footage from that, but I do have footage of us trying the normal way where the far left pillar that's really high raised up is a good spot because he'll usually come and stand in front of it. However, for whatever reason, based on our group, he kept being drawn to the spot that was actually blocked because people were kind of coming in late and they were getting his attention in that area. So it was actually a bad pillar for us because we just wouldn't get any damage. You had to jump up over the foliage and the wall there, the little wall, to actually shoot him. So we said, okay, let's try these middle pillars. We tried them. We tried a couple different other ones, and it just was not the same. You can kind of see how some of the damage phases went where we were in kind of middle left. We tried the pillars that were alongside the boss's platform where he starts at. We actually tried that left pillar there, and it wasn't that great. Sometimes on certain other pillars too, he would get too close to you, and I rocketed myself a few times. If I have some of that footage, I'll be able to show that as well, that I kind of was able to get too close to him. That was my fault. I should have stepped a little further back, and I was just worried about rocketing somebody else because we were using solar rockets. One of the things when it comes to the damage phase, once you get the damage phase started, is to get everybody there alive, which was tough, and to get everybody there in a safety area. And so for us, I would try to drop my well if I had it. We would try to get the other warlock to drop his well a little bit earlier, but the timing wasn't always right. Sometimes drop it too soon, and then we would lose the well, and then we wouldn't have the well, so we'd have to kind of get out early from the damage phase. But if the well wasn't there, and you'll see in many instances the well wasn't there, I was having to retreat. I was trying to use my movement to dodge his scythes, and they would just track me through things. Of course, the ads all around didn't help. The ad clear wasn't like super perfect in those in-between phases, so there was usually either a barrier up here or there, or there was a bunch of Shadow Legion grunts, the Legionnaires shooting at us from the sides. So that's another thing you have to deal with when you're looking at LFGs, is just, nothing's going to be perfect for the most part. You're just going to have to roll with it. And so that was the changes that we made. We kind of went through different areas and figured out the best platform for us was that right platform, that middle right platform that has only that single pillar, and we were able to then pick a side, left or right. Sometimes our other warlock was dropping the pillar, dropping the well right behind the pillar. So while we could shift left and right somewhat, it was a little tight, and we were having to duck in the front to make sure the guys in the back could get there and get their rockets off. And we were absolutely taking advantage of the burn, which is another thing for Master, is that you've got your solar and strand burn. So Strand, of course, doesn't have a whole lot of good DPS heavies right now. It's just the grenade launcher, which isn't perfect. So we were going with solar rockets. We had one Gallahorn, and sometimes we had two Gallahorns because that's all they had. And then we had He's in Vengeance, and everybody had their solar rocket. I believe Ascendancy is another decent solar rocket if you have that one from seasons past. Roar the Bear is going to have a good role. Right now, there is still a bug, I believe, where you can use Osteostriga and switch over to a Vorpal heavy rocket launcher, and that Vorpal will stay active, number one, because you're not switching back and forth. That's the current glitch where when you switch off your Vorpal and you switch back, the Vorpal doesn't activate. But what that does is that keeps the Osteostriga's dot from expiring, and the dot will continue to do damage, continue to get your grenades back for you as a Starfire Warlock, and it'll allow you to work with a Witherhoard. So usually if there's two Witherhoards, you're only going to get the one Witherhoard worth of damage and the one Witherhoard worth of grenade generation. There's been some tests showing that the Witherhoard can only work for one player, so yeah, you can shoot it on the ground, one can shoot it at the person, and then those will both work. But then when the one from the absorption drops onto the ground, you're going to be in that bad situation where your Witherhoard's going to get cancelled out, and so you're going to have to be shooting him with your primary weapon and then switching and so on and so forth. So the best way to do it now is to get your Osteostriga, load him up, switch over to your Vorpal rocket, and just do Vorpal grenade, Vorpal grenade, Vorpal grenade, and just dump all your heavy that way. And so that's a good alternative until they fix that. And even when they don't fix it, it's not the worst, but it is a good alternative. One thing that does cancel it, and one thing to look out for, if somebody is using a chill clip rocket launcher on the boss and the boss shatters, you're going to have to reapply Osteostriga, which is not a huge deal, but at least it's not going to be as potent as it would be as if you didn't have it. So like if you were in our situation where we had a bunch of He's in Vengeance and no chill clip, that's ideal, because then you can get your Osteostriga and then you switch over and you've just got a ton of damage going, and it's just free damage, so it's definitely worth doing. In my case, since I was doing the Hatred, I had to have the sniper on. If not, I would have done the Osteostriga, swap over to the Vorpal combo. But again, it's just one of those things where you have to work with the burns, especially when you're in an LFG, because it makes such a huge difference. We, at one point, I think it was in the Macrocosm, we were having a hunter who was just struggling with his setup. We had to just have him switch over to Blade Barrage, because his Blade Barrage ended up doing more damage in one Blade Barrage than his entire DPS phase. So, with LFGs, you have to work with what you have to work with. It's good to try to help people get to the end goal if you can. If you can raise your performance to the level where you can carry people along with you, I think that's the best thing. I think that's the most ideal LFG thing to do. Is everybody's looking for help, everybody's looking for a group to get this done with, and it's not always the best to just leave and rage quit on a group because somebody's new or doesn't have the specific items, especially if you know that you're capable of doing enough damage and performing well enough that you can carry one or two or three people with you. So if you're that person and you don't have a set group but you're good at the game, consider that not everybody's as good as you, not everybody has the same time, and it would be a good idea to try to help them get there and to try to carry them to the finish line with you, put them on your back. So I kind of touched on some of the things that you would want to look out for with LFGs. Like we talked about, somebody who's just not as skilled with their weapons, somebody who doesn't have the same weapons, somebody who's new to the game and needing the help. I think my favorite kind of person when it comes to somebody like that is somebody who's honest with his group and says, hey, I'm going to be honest, guys. I'm not the best at this, or this is all I have, or this is my situation and I'm sorry, but please help me. Like, those are kind of the best players, because that they're going to be actually grateful for the help. And you'll hear here at the end of the video, I'm gonna post or upload the kill that we had, the master kill, and just the sheer acknowledgement of the people for, you know, somebody who's, they know their game, they help people get in their places, they help everybody for the better of the team, and they just appreciate it. And so you'll hear just how grateful people are when you give them a chance, when you give them a shot, and you're not just going to immediately bounce and leave, or you're not going to, you know, call somebody out in a negative way on something that they're doing. It's one thing to say, hey, can you do this, or next time do this. You know, you can kind of give people, some people, not everybody's good at taking feedback, but you can kind of give people feedback in a direct way that shouldn't hurt their feelings if they know who they are. You know what I mean? It's obviously worse if they don't know who they are and they think they're good and they're not. But it doesn't help anybody to trash talk somebody in the middle of the encounter, especially when your goal is supposed to be a common goal. So that's kind of one of the things that I wanted to touch on, is just, again, this video is mainly for the LFG crowd, for people who are new, for people who don't have a set group, who are already used to each other and know how to talk to each other, and, you know, who can take what. You know, those type of groups obviously are a whole different dynamic, and only you can really tweak and change those things for yourself in your group. With me, again, my experience is meeting these people for the first time, and, you know, if I need to, I obviously would like to not be the one to have to try to get everybody on the same page, but I can help everybody get onto the same page and get us organized, and then from there we all kind of work together collaboratively to make our loadouts work, where we actually win and kill the boss, which is what we did here in the master for me. So you'll see here in a little bit, I'm going to post the final kill. You're going to hear everybody, you know, excited about it, you know, getting our loot and stuff, giving out the commendations, which is also important. If you have somebody that's a level 9 it's trying to get to their level 10, throw them the leadership, the blue leadership, or ally if you're out of the leadership. Commendations to help them get the coach triumph done, which I believe I got on this run too, which was awesome. So just, you know, just basically trying to say be cool, you know, try to look out for people. Everybody's got their own stuff. They usually come to these games as an escape mechanism, and you know, that we don't have to deal with the real life stuff, and just keep that in mind when you're out there with random strangers, that everybody's got their stuff, and try to be accommodate as many people as you can. Obviously, you know, people can push your buttons and go too far, but if they're being honest and they're being forward about what their shortcomings are, and you can help them, you should help them, at least. If that's my opinion. Obviously everybody's got their own opinion, and you know, they're not entitled to your help, but I think as somebody who's been doing this for a long time and doing LFGs for a long time and getting some of the hardest content done with LFGs, it's much more rewarding than if you were to help a whole bunch of good players but they're all toxic. You know what I mean? I would much rather help somebody who's okay or casual or new, that's super grateful and has that really awesome memorable experience, than somebody who's in here 3 times a week or more every week and they're just super entitled and super toxic. So, you know, I really appreciate these guys that we got to run with, and, you know, I always appreciate when I meet really cool guys, and, you know, we add each other and run later on with each other. Same thing with my day 1 crew. You know, I still run some stuff with them as well, that we got the day 1 done together. So it's really cool to make those connections, and that's just one thing I wanted to add before going super detailed into some more of the stuff. I'm going to show a little bit of the day 1 footage that I had running, so that way you can kind of see what the running looks like in this video, just in case you haven't watched my other video or you haven't watched anybody else's video on Nezarec. And then we'll go ahead and do the outro, and that'll be it for the video. So just wanted to add a little bit more detail to the running side. I don't particularly have footage of myself doing the running. Usually I do those on the normal runs, and I just hadn't recorded it. But I'm going to give you the example, of course, of this is what it looks like when you have an active node. You've got the aura around it. This is the active light node that I'm showing here. The active dark node looks the same, but with the dark seeds. This, of course, is what it's going to look like when you have a completed seed. You'll see that the seed is complete. It's become either a white orb or a little darkness seed, and it's got a little beam of light that's going to point you to the next seed and also kind of connect to where it came from. This right here is going to be an example of what the plates look like when they don't have a seed, and as you approach them, they start to glow like a little bit in the center with like a small dark node. If I have some footage, I will show somebody jumping through and actually shooting the seed and showing it activating it. So that will actually give you an idea of, hey, this is what it looks like, and this is the seed that you have to activate. And then if I do have some footage, I'll try to show somebody shooting the final seed and kind of the seed locations. I'll also show you a little bit of the path that sometimes it'll take. So for example, when you're standing on the sides, you'll see that this will be the first spot and that this will be the second spot. And then furthermore, once you shoot the first seed, it'll either be here or here. And then from there, once you actually shoot that second set of seeds, you will have to go back and then reproc your light buff or your dark buff, and it'll be on the prior seeds that you've already created. So it'll either move up to, on the left side, for example, the first platform kind of on the middle right, or that tall platform on the left where you actually do the DPS from. Once you get far enough down, that tall platform will eventually be one of the seeds that you have to come back and shoot, and then you'll go back and you'll hit the flower at the very back where the Colossuses spawn and the barrier champions spawn. That'll be the final seed, the flower that's waiting for you there in the back that you can see here. And that's pretty much the damage phase, as far as getting to the damage. Once you actually get to the damage, of course, best loadout if you're trying to maximize your ability is going to be 5 Warlocks and 1 Hunter. Hunter for the debuff, using the longer tether, and the 5 Warlocks for the spam grenade rockets. And then of course solar rockets are going to be the best DPS that you're going to do with the solar burn. So that's just kind of the way to take advantage of the modifiers that are currently there for the Master Raid. That'll also obviously change in the future as the raid changes and the seasons change, and we're going to have different surges. That'll actually be kind of a cool thing to change up, to come in here, use different weapons to see how much you can melt Nezarec. Other than that, that's pretty much how the running goes. When it comes to the other mechanics, they're all the exact same. Shoot the 2 shoulders, shoot the chest, call out light or dark refuge, make the refuge, and you'll see again in my footage from before talking about the refuge, what the refuge looks like, the timing to stand in it, what the wave looks like. And that's pretty much it as far as being more detailed about the running position, what it looks like, just in case you're brand new to this. And then of course, if you're not brand new to this, you can feel free to skip to the damage phase where you can see us, where we stand, the rocket damage that we do, kind of the spacing and the timing of the rockets. During the video, I'll also post some of the wipes that we have, so you can kind of see some of the damage numbers that we have in there. If you paid attention, you'll see kind of where we are based on the amount of rockets that we were able to connect with, the misses, the teleports, things of that nature. Pretty much any other questions that you have, of course, you can always reach out to me in the comments. I'll put a pinned comment at the bottom of this video when I can, so that way you can just reply directly to that, so I can see anything specifically that you have any questions on, that if I maybe get a bunch of comments on, I can make a small supplementary video about. But other than that, here's going to be the final run that we had where we actually got the kill. I'm going to post it that way you can hear our comms and everything, and even me being a little bit flustered at, I think, one of the placements of the wells being like right in the middle, and I'm like, oh my god. But that's just how it is with LFGs. And then of course our excitement once we finally got it done, after spending I think like an hour and a half trying to get everybody on the same page, since we were an LFG and our first time playing together. But enjoy the kill. Again, if you have any additional questions, comment in below. If I happen to help you out with your clear and this particular information got you the clear, come back, leave me a like, throw me a subscription if you feel that would be great. I'm trying to reach 1,000 subscriptions. That way we can start kind of actually getting some monetization on the channel. It gives me a little bit more ability to do more videos more regularly. And I really appreciate all of the feedback that I got from the Destiny community, and the fact that I went from being kind of mostly a Hunt Showdown channel to a Destiny/Hunt Showdown channel, and there's a bunch of Destiny content that people are enjoying in my playlists. That's kind of something that I never thought would happen. I never even imagined that I would actually be making Destiny videos, even though it's my main favorite game. So again, I appreciate everybody that watches the video to the end. I appreciate all of you who subscribed, left me likes, left me positive feedback. Thank you very much, and enjoy the video.
Holy 3, 2, 1.
I know. Same thing here. If I had just one rocket there, we could have killed him.
Yep.
Romantic.
Oh. That was a bit risky, bro. I was gonna be honest.
I had to. Give me more time.
Should be good. Yeah, we're good.
Yeah, come to Ivory.
And be careful with boss. Be careful with boss.
Pop it.
Where is he? Left?
Left.
You're kidding, right?
Alright, get
Out
out.
of well, get out.
Yeah. Seems a little better. Seems like it. Just stay all the way back. He doesn't do his sight if you stay all the way back. He's staring at you, Cubby. Staring at me now. God.
Alright, he's dark. We need a dark refuge. He's also going to be running around free, by the way.
He just run around for you, fuck. Yes?
Oh, don't tell him you and me. Oh, yes, he is. Big boy.
Run,
Hello
run,
there.
run.
So, what's the refuge, by the way?
Dark.
Dark. Right.
Dark.
Like,
Which one is it, though? Giuseppe, you said? Right here? Nice, thank you.
Yeah, Guppy. Watch out for him. Just grab it and go back if you have to.
Yeah, just play around.
Second one right here.
Yeah, he's not glowing yet,
Run,
so...
run, run, run,
he's
run.
going, he's going.
No, I need more.
Just grab it and go, grab it and go. Alright. Yes, sir?
Got his hatred finally from this angle. I'm gonna put down a safety well.
I'm gonna look for.
Alright. Did we finish light?
Not yet, almost.
So,
Oh god, I died.
barriers.
I go.
Ratzo, I'm right by you. Oh my god.
I'm dancing with him right now.
Yeah, I'm just trying to kill this Colossus because he's doing a lot of things.
Damage phase.
Here's damage well.
Back here? Okay. Oh my god. That was a weird spot. Put it a little bit to the left next time.
Alright.
Or to the right.
Yeah.
That way he can't hide like he's doing right now.
it's fine, we could get more ammo.
Well's
We're
out.
of well.
Oh, we could definitely find some ammo in the fucking next round.
Surely.
I'm saving
Hey,
a rocket.
Oh.
Is this safety, by the way? Is this safety?
Can I get some fucking heavy, please?
Stay
There's
safe.
one
Hey,
out
get
here.
back,
Get out of here,
get
Guppy,
back,
Guppy,
get back,
Guppy,
get
Guppy.
back.
He's
He's
doing
done.
it, Guppy.
Oh,
Watch
he's
out,
shooting it.
cover. Okay.
There you
good.
go, you're good.
Run.
What's-
go.
Yeah,
There was a heavy
you're close, actually.
Yeah, no, I'm fully out of here.
Or save.
Alright, he's light. We need a light refuge.
Gotcha.
He is running around free, so be careful.
Is he? Oh, he's running around free. Everybody watch.
Yes,
Look out.
he just. Oh! He went next to me.
This is where we start fucking dropping.
Bringing lights to one at the beginning. One at the beginning.
Run to the beginning one? Alright,
Oh
so
my
be
god.
careful.
He killed me.
Get out of there, get out of there.
I'm gonna get
But
your
did you get it?
res.
Did you get it? Did you make it?
No, he
I
didn't.
make it.
Grab.
Quickly,
Grab,
go
grab,
make it quickly.
Grab, get it.
I'm
Come on.
making it. I'm
Okay,
going.
let's do it.
Come to Ivory is. Come to Ivory is. This one.
Let's go, Ivory. Grab it and go, grab it and go.
Grab it and go.
Oh, nice. Good timing.
And then get back. Oh, he fell! Off the map.
What do you mean, Phil?
He fell off the map. Oh no.
Well,
Okay, just finish the things. Finish the things.
He spawned back.
Oh my god, he's right on top of me.
Now we
Go! God,
Go!
Oh, you cheating fuck.
Radzo, do
Get
you have a revive?
Get us.
No, I don't.
Gup, do you have a revive?
Oh god. Finish the run, you guys can?
Let's go, man. What the hell?
After the revive. Oh, Guppy is
Right.
right. Finish the run, man.
Yeah, we just need dark side. You need dark side. I got it.
Good, last one.
You don't have revive?
I'm going.
No.
I'm trying to.
Right, done.
Damage.
Damage.
I
Do
don't
we
have
even-
a well, actually. Don't come yet.
Any
Don't
well?
come yet. No well.
Oh fuck.
Run back. There's a.
Oh no!
You got it.
It just spawned.
You gotta be kidding me.
Yep, well.
That is down. Hopefully you guys can get it.
Surely.
Man, I hate the stupid ass fucking
Stay still
barriers,
if you
man.
can, please.
How many
Get ready.
for the web?
We have only 5
I've got another well.
Right.
Alright, there you go. You guys got this. You got. Good thing the full boardwalk over there.
Yeah.
Everything you got.
Keep going.
You guys got this. You guys got the common sign?
No.
Not enough.
If we were all alive right now, we would
Yeah, it's those fucking barriers, man.
I
Wait,
ran
wait.
towards that side and there was barriers everywhere.
Yeah.
And I turned around and Nezzy was in my face with the cleaver.
No,
No,
yeah,
it
yeah.
spawned. It spawned like right when we went over there, because I had killed them all that. I had killed
No,
them all
oh
that
no,
time.
it like I'm not joking. It spawned as we turned around.
Yeah, but he also cheated. He disappeared,
No, oh,
came
yeah,
back,
he did.
then did his white mechanic.
Mm-hmm.
Alright.
did.
So let's, hey guys, so let's keep this in mind. If
That
he falls
cheating
out,
Hey.
he's gonna do that.
By the
Ready?
way, guys,
Yeah.
don't go to the beginning ones. This refuge on these fucking second ones so you don't fall out.
Well, it's because the second one wasn't ready yet. It had a...
Yeah, the second one
yeah.
was.
That's why we
I
do
had
the
a little
beginning
bit.
ones because
Yeah.
sometimes they have the active and you can't. You know what I mean?
Everybody ready?
Yeah, we good.
The beginning ones are never that though.
Oh, he killed all the ads without me getting Ricky.
Oh my god, land tank is the fucking best thing we ever had in this game.
Oh, you cheating fuck!
You shouldn't fuck off.
He's cheating again. He's pushing me out of this shit. He's not supposed to be able to.
Chicken dinner.
Oh, you guys are done? Nice. I'm getting out of here.
Almost done on light. Got it. There you go.
Alright.
Yeah, come on, damn.
Don't you fucking.
Get the well a little bit to the side, either left or right,
Well, wrong side. God,
or you know, put it right in the middle.
I put it to the side.
Whip.
Well, I almost died.
It's pretty central to me.
I think our point of references might be different.
Nothing.
Why did you go back here?
Why did he go back there?
Alright, he's immune.
That's it.
I mean, we're three phasing him anyway, so.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
you have a
three-phase is
point. We are gonna free phase him, I guess, regardless.
Just that little area is like, I hate the little pillars on every goddamn. They're there for a reason, I'm sure, but.
Yeah, the reason is to just fuck you over. Pretty sure.
That's
Yeah,
why I'd say
it's good.
either put the well really far to the right or really far to the left, so we don't have to deal with that. Alright, he's light. We need a light refuge.
Gotcha.
Oh, well, there's some ads on me. I didn't even notice that.
He's running around free, by the way.
Okay.
Don't say
He's
that.
running out free. Well, keep your eyes out.
Yeah. Not me.
Where's
Oh,
Rookie?
yes.
I'm gonna help kill his barrier while he's running
Just
around.
Fight?
Yeah. Fish is
Uh,
Oh, it's on me,
get
it's on me, it's on me.
Fish made it. Fish made it.
Okay, I'm going thief. Is he glowing yet? I can't see.
Oh, yeah,
yeah.
oh, yeah.
Let's go. Alright.
Oh my days.
Oh my god.
Now he's
We're
going.
storing so many of those.
Okay.
Don't revive him. Don't revive him. Oh god.
That country, that country.
Okay, we made it. Yay. Just don't get swiped by him.
Oh, don't get fight.
Oh shit! He just swiped me.
We just told you.
I am on hell's door. Holy shit.
Damage?
No, yeah, no,
Alright.
no, yeah, no, no,
Oh
no,
my
no, no.
god, that's
Not yet.
fucked me
Come on,
up.
somebody grab it.
Oh,
Ah,
oh my god.
Roz?
I grab
oh god.
light. I grab
put a well down or something.
Yeah, Roz, just chill out there for a bit. Don't worry about it.
I got him. Oh, never mind. Go for it.
I don't have a res.
I got one.
He's damaged.
Put a well to the far right.
To the far right. Alright.
Thank you. Oh my god, can I land?
You see? Oh my. He suppressed me. Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, but thank you.
We have
Get
oh,
up.
we're done. Alright. It's gonna be a free phase and a tough final stand.
Let me really close.
Yeah, we are. Jesus Christ.
Motherfucker suppressed me. Fuck off.
Fucking heavy ammo drop.
He's gonna
Man,
glaze
so
me.
annoying.
Get back, get
He
back.
glazed
Oh
me.
my god,
Yeah,
Ivory.
Don't worry. I'm getting smart. I'm learning his moves.
We need a dark refuge.
Dark refuge is the way to go. Careful. You said dark refuge?
Yes.
Alright.
I got it.
Oh my god, I got full heavy this time. This is the run, guys. You have a dark refuge made? Where is it?
Where's the refuge?
Over here. Over here.
What is over here? Oh, Eduardo?
Watch
Okay.
out, guys. Get out.
Okay. Get in, grab. Get in, go.
I gotta wait for him to start glowing. There we go. Time to
Watch
get
out
out.
for bears. I feel like there's something else.
Yeah, the bears are gonna spawn real soon, so watch out.
Oh, grab the. Okay, let's go.
I don't see any barriers. Go and finish up.
Alright, I think. Yep. Just get ready for barriers, I think.
I'm here with the right side just in case.
Yeah, it's gonna spawn right there, right now.
Oh god, the fucking glaive's gonna get me.
I see him. I see
Let
him.
it get you.
Help me get his shield down.
Is light down?
Nope, not yet.
Almost there. Almost there.
Okay, barrier's dead.
Got hatred.
Barrier on my side. Hatred, don't get hatred.
Yeah, sorry, I was having to kill the barrier. You just got to deal with it.
Jesus Christ.
We're good, we're good.
Can't fucking shoot it 'cause hatred.
There.
There you go,
Oh
there you
my
go.
God.
Light's done.
Yeah, I knocked the hatred down too the last
Damage,
second.
damage. Oh, I see heavy. I see heavy. Oh, there you go.
Right, come to Ivory.
Yeah.
He's in a good spot finally too. Waiting for him to land.
There you go.
I'm just going kinetic and grenade until we find stand.
Getting ready
I
for
don't have
final
a well.
stand.
Do we have a well?
Yeah, okay.
I won't yet. I'm gonna put an empowering well though. Everything you got. I'll get my well eventually. He's standing still too. It's perfect.
Oh,
We got it, boys. We got it.
I'm dead.
Yes.
Anyone can revive me?
Finally.
There we go.
Fuck.
Dude,
Fuck this guy.
if I
Blow this
could,
motherfucker
I
up.
give all of you a mastery commendation. Seriously.
Give me the leadership ones. I need
Give me
leadership
blowjob.
ones.
Give me the leader.
Give me the blue ones or the green ones. Let me see. What are they?
Give me all of it.
Who wants the red?
I go
Wants
shit.
the yellow one? Who wants the yellow one?
Let's see. What are they called? Yeah, the blue. Give me the blue one. The blue card.
Who's me?
Raziel.
Razil.
Yay, we
You-
got the
you-
fucking shit, boys.
Razil, you get a fucking knowledgeable because you were badass on that gaze.
We got the badass ship.
Nice.
Oh yeah, we do have the badass.
Oh,
shit, too.
and by the way,
Forgot about that.
Thief,
How do you
Get
get the
this
ship
fucking
from the
heroic,
track,
dude.
What's
from the-
everybody
You
levels?
read that like
They're
a
in the
chat,
eights.
Yes, sir.
No, everybody's a 7, so it doesn't really matter what give these two.
Where do you get the ship from?
From this? Yeah, you just gotta claim it.
The triumph. Yeah.
Everybody gets.
God.
Badass ship,
damn,
man. I
bro.
love it.
Wait,
Where's
was
Steve
that?
at?
No, hang on. That was not half an hour. Oh yeah, because we left and came back in.
Mhm.
Yeah, alright. I was about to say, what the fuck?
Yeah, like your time got all messed up. That is a nice ship. I'm gonna clear some
Like a
room.
ship. Yeah, the ship's pretty nice.
Lord, hey y'all, seriously, thank you so much for the run.
Yeah.
Yeah,
thank you
nice.
guys.
Finally got the master knocked down. I can just do normal the rest of the weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just wanna
Yeah,
remind
right?
y'all that
Ugh.
you are all awesome, alright?
Thanks, guys.
Have a good night,
Thank you.
everybody,
Thank
and
you,
I'm gonna
guys.
go
You
cry
too.
myself to sleep.